Sometimes you're bound to run into problems when you're editing, and these were the most common issues I've run into when making videos over the past 5 years. To start, we have missing files. You'll typically receive this warning whenever you're opening a composition, and it'll let you know how many files are missing since you last saved this project. So we're going to hit OK, and it's going to go ahead and open the last composition that we had. And you can see I've got this file here that's missing, and it replaces it with this with these color bars. And over here on the left, you can see it's actually doing the same thing. And typically, this just means that you happen to move the file, or it was moved by itself to another location that After Effects had already made a link to. And what you need to do is just simply right-click, hit Replace Footage, File. And it's going to open up some things, and you want to find out where you had that file go. So I'm going to go to my desktop because I know that's where I put it, not my OneDrive. And here it is. I hit import, and there you go. The file's back in place, and it's made a new link to the file location that you chose it to pull from. So something else that you may run into is making a shape instead of a mask, or making a mask instead of a shape. Making a shape instead of a mask is a pretty easy thing to run into, and it just means that you actually had something selected whenever you were trying to make this. So here we have a mask, but we didn't want a mask, we wanted a shape. So just unselect anything that you have selected, and then you can make a shape just how you like. Typically, you'll also have the option up here to create a mask or a shape. If we this, then there you go. You have the options to create a shape or create a mask. I typically export my projects out through Adobe Media Encoder, but the render queue window will do what you need generally. The default version of an output module is a lossless video file, which means absolutely no compression will be applied to it. This exports it as an AVI file. I export out just 1 second of the composition that we have here, and what you can see is that we have our common issues, and the video file is nearly 2 gigabytes large, and it's only about a second long. That is obviously not going to do it. A lot of projects that you can make could end up having a horrible file size just because of clips like this. And it might even have trouble playing in something like VLC Media Player. As you can see, it's taking a long time to load this one clip, which should not even be an issue. But the downside is that if we go into this composition and we tell it we want you to go to the render queue, you don't actually have an option for a typical H.264 export, which is what I personally would recommend for files so that you can add some compression to them and they won't be monstrously huge. So I usually just recommend you go ahead and send it to Adobe Media Encoder queue and then export it through that manner. Sometimes when you use easy ease keyframes and customize them in the speed graphs, you can have an issue arise where a layer's position will randomly move along the path that you didn't set. That wasn't something you did, don't worry about that. After Effects keyframe interpolation sometimes gets messed up and finds the spatial interpolation as you see here on auto Bezier or continuous Bezier. And we just want that to be on linear. And there you go. Now the object will easy ease itself between each of those points. And you can see it's no longer curved like it was before, like that. So if that's one of the issues that you're having, just right click, go into keyframe interpolation and change it from auto or continuous Bezier and change it to linear. And there you go. Thanks, and see you in the next video.